Good afternoon. What's going on, everyone? I am your host, Ryan Anderson, as we kick off the Indiana Derby Day live show here on ABR. And I'm joined by a couple familiar faces. First, JD Fox to, I think, your left, my right, and Mikey P below us from In the Money. Gentlemen, how are you doing? JD, we'll start with you.
Doing well. It's a big day of racing. Obviously, Indiana and Iowa, these are the big cards of the year, and we're focused on what is a great top to bottom card for the Indiana Derby Day. Obviously, the Oaks and the Derby, going to be great races, but the whole card's been really fun.
Yeah, very fun card, stakes-packed card. And we're going to get into the Indiana Oaks and the Indiana Derby here shortly. But first, to check in with Mikey P. Mikey, how you doing today?
Doing great. Another great day of racing on a Saturday. And just we're into the summer now. I mean, it's July 4th weekend, so lots of tracks, all cylinders. You got Saratoga now. That's that's different, isn't it? And but lots of great racing. I'm excited for the Indy card. I'm excited for the Prairie Meadows card also. I lots of great horses racing today.
Absolutely, yeah. Fast and furious action from around the country. From Saratoga here at Indianapolis. You mentioned the Prairie Meadows card as they have their pretty much their biggest day today going down out there. So I look forward to playing that a little later on. But we get to focus on Indiana for the time being. Coming up is race number 10, race 10 of 13. It is the let me get the proper name of the stakes here. It is the Ellen's Lucky Star stakes, if I'm not mistaken on the pronunciation. We'll throw the simulcast up just to take a look at the live board. Your favorite is the number 12 Hot Middles. So JD, I got to throw it out to you. I know you have some strong opinions on this race. Are you with Hot Middles and the public making this one the favorite or against?
I loved a lot of horses on this card. There was one horse that I hated and could not understand why they would take money in this spot, and it's Hot Middles. So 7-2. We're running on the turf. We're going a flat mile on the turf, and this will be the turf debut for a horse that has absolutely no turf pedigree. And I'm very curious why they ended up in this spot, other than the purse. Obviously, has been sprinting, 3 wins on the meet, looking to become the first horse at Indiana. Horseshoe Indianapolis this meet to win for a 4th time, but an uphill battle despite being 1-9 last time. But I don't see it here, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the breeding in the pre-show, negative turf breeding, if that was ever a possibility for a horse like Hot Middles here. Yes, won last race at 1-9, but stepping onto a new surface for the first time is certainly a reason that I'm going to try and beat this horse. And I feel like we all have some similar opinions. Mikey, I'll go to you. How did you view this race? Do you think Hot Middles is a vulnerable favorite? I do think that the favoritism is going to switch over to the 4 by post time, looking at all the will pays.
Yeah, very vulnerable favorite. Tough post, new surface, the route distance, a jockey that certainly excels with this horse, but I do think would be a little bit of a question mark in this scenario. So, and there's just other horses to take in this race right now, just way and underlay. This is the kind of horse that you really would want to let beat you. But the other horse that's being played, the 4, was 75-1 last time getting to the grass. Now, I know that was a different race, and that was open company there. So a lot of times you get a horse, you get a surface switch, and the horse moves up, especially in figures. That's an angle for me, and I can't appreciate that. However, if you didn't have the horse at 75-1 last time, and this horse probably going to be 5-2-ish on the board, I just think it's a wide open race, and you could just take a lot of chances, maybe trying to catch a price.
Yeah, worth mentioning, there seems to be an abundance of pace in here. Last time out, Off Pitch, who is the 4 horse at that aforementioned 75-1, went pretty slow around there. Timeform had the paces coded in blue, which typically indicates a slow pace, and still wasn't able to kind of hang on. Yes, it was against open company, but JD, am I correct in thinking that there's a lot more pace signed on in here?
Yeah, there is, and we also saw a speed bias track that day, so slow fractions in a speed bias track, not able to come forward. I think the 4 is kind of a horse you've got to include depending on the price and how you want to shape your multi-race exotics. There's a big 4 starting in this race, but I don't think this horse is a shoo-in, and I don't think you can really bet this horse from a win perspective, even if you like the horse, if you see anything below 3-1, and I think we're going to end up getting there. Lots of speed signed on, lots of horses that really have one shot, and that's to go to the front. And I think you can start with the first horse, Fat Chance, draws the rail and might be the speed of the speed from the sprinters that are trying routing this time. It's also a questionable turf pedigree, but at least there's some turf pedigree there. To give you an example, and I know you can use a lot of pedigree metrics to look at things. You can look at the Tomlinson numbers if you're using DRF past performances that show that the 12 has no turf pedigree. You can look at time form. To give you an example, it's a scale of 1 to 100 for turf routing. The 12 is a 44, and the next lowest horse in the field is a 74. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I think even when you look at a horse like the one, from the mare, 2 other foals, only 1 turf spot start, and it was actually a speed and fade last year on this weekend in the Snack, and the sire is 0 for 3 on turf. But there's at least deep down, Awesome again, Arch. I mean, there is some turf pedigree there. It's just not been prevalent with the Dam and Sire at this point. But again, limited numbers, which if you are looking at DRF and looking at Tomlinson, that's why you have an asterisk next to those Tomlinson numbers, because it's a best guess with the limited progeny from these crosses.
Yeah, excellent analysis there. We're going to be joined by one more guest as we approach the Ellen's Lucky Star Stakes. And she's the star out at Parks. You've probably heard her voice if you listen to any of the Parks race calls, is the race caller, but also a good handicapper. She was on the Haskell Day preview show with Dan Torgman live on site at Monmouth Park. And today she's going to be live with us. It's Jessica Paquette. Jess, how you doing?
Hey, everything's great. How are you guys? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Yeah, fast and furious action from around the country racing-wise. How's your day been going?
It's great. I ran 13 miles this morning, rode 2 horses. Now I'm, in my finest on the couch watching horse racing. It's a good Saturday.
I think you've deserved the couch rest and being able to relax. 13 miles on a Saturday. I've maybe taken 13 steps from my bedroom to this room to get going today. So that's
there's a fellow
impressive
runner in this group who I think is faster than me anyway.
I only got 9 today. I'm a little, I need
Slacker.
to catch up, I guess.
Impressive. Well, we are looks like about 8 minutes to post for the Ellen's Lucky Star Stakes. Big day out at Indiana, as I'm sure you're aware, Jessica. But as we approach race number 10, what horses caught your eye? Are you trying to beat any favorites, or is the 4 off pitch an attractive favorite to you?
I think this is one of those races where you eat a little bit of chalk and move on. I think there's some value to be had in the next couple of races, but for me, this one, tough to get by off pitch.
Mm-hmm. Looks strong off that last Open Company second place finish after setting that slow pace. JD, you mentioned the pick 4 with the $1 minimum going here. Are you going to be playing a late pick 4 ticket here at Indiana?
Yeah, and I think I'd be looking to go 4 deep in this spot. I do think off pitch is a must include, as I mentioned. I'm not going to include the 12. So basically, I think off pitch can win from the front end, and if that's not going to happen, I'm going to kind of pair with 3 closers that I like in this spot, which are the 9, 10, and 11. My top pick in the race is the 10 and it's free last. We saw a lot of early money. We saw it open at and get down as low as 5-1 off of the 15-1 morning line. But this horse has done nothing wrong in the last 2 allowance efforts at Horseshoe Indianapolis, and even the last one being on turf going a mile and 16th. Driving finish, good performance there. Had won by 10 3/4. The race washed off the turf last time out. So if there are other horses like the one that want to go with the 4 and the pace ends up being a little compromised, there are some closers in this race that I feel have some talent on the turf.
I like it. Mikey, if you were going to start a pick 4 in this leg, who are you going with to kick us off?
I agree that the 10 is a must use. Just the style. I like the race last time. That the closing going on the 2X, going a rod of ground, I think is going to be a favorable setup for this. And the price is there. There's a horse that hasn't really been mentioned yet, and that's the 2 Sorry Not Sorry. Now, this horse needs to probably, I think, get a little faster, but you do have some turf breeding here. You do have a second place finish going a route on May 26th. I do think that this horse gets as a closer and gets a setup in here also. So the turf's no problem. You're going to get the right setup for this horse. You got an inside post. There's things to like. This horse is 15-1 right now. So in a race that we don't really like the favorites, I think you want to try to get prices. So the 2, the 10 would be must uses. I probably would use the 4 just because you got the turf last time and you got a big move and a big jump in figure. So that would be a horse I wouldn't want to beat me. I'd probably use those 3.
I like it. I'm going 1 and 10 to start off my pick 4 here. Just a horse that I think could be forward, and then the 10, Innisfree Last, who JD touched on as one of his top picks. I think could fire a major shot in here. Jess, I know you were talking about it's hard to get past off pitch in this spot. So as the contrarian, if you're starting to pick 4 here, who are you using? And then take us into the Indiana Oaks.
Okay, so I'm going to use off pitch, and I think I'll throw in probably the 10 and the 1. This is one of those races where I don't have my strongest opinions on the card, so I'm kind of covering my bases a little bit. But I do have a strong opinion at possibly a big price in the Oaks, and that is Sturgeon Moon for William Walden, first for him, previously trained by Paulo Lobo. Forgive me, because I have not really checked scratches and changes yet. Johnny V is still on the source, yes?
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, anytime you get Johnny V at 15-1, please run to the windows. This seems like they're giving away money at Indiana today. And you have to think that this is the horse he came here to ride, right? He doesn't really have any major standout in the Derby. So I think this is a really interesting horse who ran really well behind Good Cheer. She showed she can run with the big girls. I thought that was a really, really respectable effort. And with only those 4 starts, man, this one looks like the best is still way ahead of her. First off the layoff, this is a tough task, obviously, but horses make such a big jump from 2 to 3. And off of her work tab, it looks like she did. So I think this is a really bold spot, but this is going to be the only time this year I bet you can get this horse at 15-1.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I use 1-3 in the Indiana Oaks, and we'll dive into our thoughts after the next race in race number 10. But I'm with you. I think that Sturgeon Moon can take a step forward. JD and I were just commenting on the fact that it felt like free money that Willie Dees, who just won the last race, was 8-5 with Johnny V on board. That felt like free money. So yeah, 15-1 on a horse like Sturgeon Moon, who could definitely take a step forward. Starting her 3-year-old season. Makes a lot of sense to me. And yeah, I love the jockey booking, and that's going to be a theme throughout the rest of the card as well.
Johnny V, I always trust. That's it.
Yes. No doubt. Yeah. And Johnny V, I trust, especially in a colony like this, up at Saratoga where it's much more competitive. He will be on some of the longer prices and he can still give those masterful rides. But here he can take a lot of these jockeys to school, especially if he's on a horse that's well meant. Mikey, in the Indiana Oaks, if you were going to continue your pick 4, who would you be using in that race?
I do like the 2 in the race. I was very impressed by this horse's last start at Churchill and was able to beat Heavenly Sunset in that spot. And I do think could improve again. I understand the 1, though. That's an interesting case for that horse. You could get some grow up from 2 to 3 there. You get an inside post. There's things to like. And William Walden has... The barn is incredibly sharp, and they do pick their spots extremely well. So I do think that is a very good look there. But I'd probably be heavy 2 in there. I could see a little 1, though, as a backup for sure.
Yeah, I like it. So 2-1 for Mikey. JD, now same question to you. In continuing your pick 4, who do you use in the Oaks? Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm going to be contrarian McGee here. So I think the 1, 2, 4, and 5 all want the same trip. And they all can't get the same trip. So I'm taking the 2 closers in the field, which are the 3 and the 6. The 6 is just a fascinating story how you end up here. Won a stakes race against Older last time at Thistledown after I would like to call her the princess of the allowance division in Ohio this year. She's won all sorts of different races and won them impressively. But you get Fernando Salazar Becerra coming out here to Indiana, which is not a place he normally rides. You got Jason DaCosta, not a track where he normally sends horses. And this horse, beat a very good French bred horse in Pignor on the square last time. And Pignor was ridden that day by Jose Ortiz. And we know how hot Jose Ortiz has been in the last month. And thought he had that race timed out perfectly. Goldeneye Magic comes in, a big closing kick. And I think we could see the speed setup again today for Goldeneye Magic to make this trip. I just feel like this was a great job of spotting a horse and just saying, hey, We just beat Older in a stake. Let's go and try to, beat horses our age in a grade 3.
Yeah. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. Golden Eye Magic last time out won the Lady Jacqueline Stakes, as you mentioned, out at Thistledown. Interesting race. Yeah, Penoir was 1-5, I want to say. And, Golden Eye Magic really just got the nose down at the wire. I wonder how this one is going to handle the ship over, but certainly one at a really nice, interesting price. And if you're right, in the 1, 2, 4, 5, all go to the lead. It could certainly set up for a horse from well off the pace. That's why I landed on the 3. Couldn't make my way to the 6, but I'm happy you did. So we have all of our bases covered there. We'll move on.
So did we all collectively say we liked every horse in the field? Because I always love when that ends up.
Pretty
happening.
much, we have it pretty covered.
I think
we have
so.
it pretty
the only
covered.
one we
Someone
didn't talk
will look
about.
smart.
Yeah, nobody picked the 5, Heavenly Sunset, coming out of the same race as Clicquot, and no one picked the 4 Top. But you did touch on them, JD, saying that they are both going for the same spot on the racetrack, which I do agree with. We're showing 0 minutes to post, so I'll throw the feedback up, but we'll talk quickly if we're continuing this pick 4 ticket. Jess, I'll throw it back out to you to touch on the Indiana Derby and who you would use in that leg of your horizontals.
Single Chunk of Gold. I loved him in the Derby. I love him here. I think he'll have a big one at some point this year. I mean, I don't think he is at the level of like the big 3. It's a really deep crop of 3-year-olds. But I do hope Chunk of Gold comes to the Pennsylvania Derby because I'm a big Jareth Loveberry fan. And I think this is a horse who kind of bred and built to go as long as they run the races. I think he's pretty neat, and he acquitted himself pretty well in the Ohio Derby. I think that his Derby, sure, it wasn't his day, but it's 6-1. That's a good payback. That's retribution for what I lost on him in Kentucky.
It would be a good one, except he did scratch out of the race, unfortunately. So
guys,
he is not running today.
You're killing. Clearly, I've done no. I'm just rolling in hot here. Okay, well, I don't have a single here, so this becomes a real wide open race for me.
All right. Well, in the meantime, then, Mikey, I'll throw it out to you. In the Indiana Derby, who are you using in that leg of things?
Yeah, I like Tip Top Thomas. I do think that he's improving. He's third back for Pletcher. They show up here in a stake after a pretty nice 1X win. Sand Devil raced pretty well coming out of that race. Did end up getting beat off of that, but ran into a toughie in that spot. So I do think that this one has the right style to win this race too. He should sit just off, and then if he does improve the stretch out, I do think that he was a nice 2-year-old. He's going to maybe, I think, make good on some of that promise at 2. And really, then you never know. This horse could turn up maybe in some of the bigger races this summer. I probably would use Publisher too, just because this race could fall apart. There's horses in there that want to make early moves like Coal Battle. Big Trust is stretching out. Instant Replay wants to come from the back. But Publisher is a horse that dance some dances, right? I mean, he was in the Southwest, the Rebel, the Arkansas Derby. He was getting checks in a lot of those races. He tried the Kentucky Derby, no chance in there from where he ended up and the way the race shaped. So this may be the spot that he finally breaks the maiden. We'll see. I mean, he's going to be coming late. He has a little class to him. He needs to improve, but he would be a horse that I would want to use in Maltese.
Can we just discuss, though, how much I hate running a maiden in a significant stakes race? I hate it so much. It's one of my top 5 pet peeves, along with House Colors.
This horse has made 400,000. So he's not really chopped liver and he certainly has a chance in this race. I understand what you're saying.
He's a clearly nice horse, and he's a graded stakes quality horse. But break your maiden. Good, we have some standards for a reason. It's one of those things that drives me insane.
It's certainly valid, even though he has held his own against some of that grade and stakes company. He still should get that notch in the maiden ranks. JD, I'll go out to you. Your thoughts on the Indiana Derby?
Yeah, I'm going to say a lot of what Mikey said. Tip Top Thomas, definitely my top pick there. I just think the maturity that we've seen, and this horse is definitely an improving type because, Champagne looked home and dusted as a 2-year-old last October and was kind of running slightly sideways at various points down the stretch, just was very green, came back at Keeneland, learned a lot that day with Irad aboard and came back to end up winning that last race out at Aqueduct. I think it's the right trip here. Can be on or near the lead. Obviously, I think Master Controller, the 2, is going to be hard sent for the quickest quarter we're probably going to see all day. And then what else happens, I don't know with that horse. But just sitting right behind there, being the first run horse, I think that's kind of the way to go. If I was to, look to add another one, Big Truz is probably where I would end up. I was surprised to see Big Truz here versus Iowa, but they ended up deciding to go here. So I'd be 6-7 in that order of preference. And I do like instant replay a little bit to pick things up, late. Probably a horse I would want to try to key in the back end of exotic wagers.
Yeah, I'm with you. Instant replay looks like the race should set up. I'm also on Tip Top Thomas as my top pick. I'm just hoping Johnny V sits the nicest trip. And you're right, Master Controller is going to set that 22-second opening quarter, and who knows what's going to happen from there. But John G. Dooley is loading them into the gate for the race number 10, the Ellen's Lucky Star Stakes. So I'll let him get us with the rest of the load and the race call. Good luck. I forget all of our top picks, but I know we're somewhere near the 10 for 1 and 2. Something like that. So John Dooley will give us the rest of the load and the call.
Hannah Leahy with Hot Middles. Over the mile on the turf today for Hot Middles. Just a couple in the back. Hoosier Promise, Marcelino Pedrosa Jr. Still looking for that hat trick of wins here on the Indiana Derby Day card. Here's Hoosier Promise. One more. Anabaskitsa. Sound the Siren draws in. Sorry, Not Sorry, both for Mike Lauer and Penny Lauer. Luis Contreras getting reset on Gold Delight. Now they backed Gold Delight out for a moment here. 46-1 odds on Gold Delight. It's 3-5 off pitch on that last flash. Luis Contreras back up on Gold Delight. Okay to reload and run. Sound the Siren. 54-1 on Sound the Siren. Here we go. They're in the gate. And they're off. And the Ellen's Lucky Star. Nice break. Fat Chances sharply away. Off pitch. Royal Justice and the red cap is also up close here. Hoosier Promise toward the inside. Orange of the blue hoops. And Temple Painter is right there too. With Sammy Bermudez. Off pitch leads out from Royal Justice. Fat Chance toward the inside as they enter the first turn. And then comes Temple Painter. Hot Middles is caught wide. And Sound the Siren is covering a lot of ground. Lost position there on the first turn. It's off pitch. Nicely out in front as these 3-year-old fillies go to the back of the course. Off pitch leads them to a quarter in 23.51. Off pitch steady as she goes. 3/4 length to a close-up Royal Justice. Fat Chance running in third. 3/4 length Temple Painter in fourth. To the inside is Sorry Not Sorry is nosed into fifth. Hoosier Promise is sixth. Tap Bonnet is running in seventh. Gold Delight is eighth. Hot Middles running in ninth past the half-mile pole and trying to prove her position. Then we come back toward the inside, Spooky Ridge with on the outside Sound the Siren, who's running in 11th, and Innisfree Lass trails the 12 after the mile start. Half mile 47.23 off pitch coming toward the quarter pole. Royal Justice right there for Fernando Letter Cruz. They're now head to head as they straighten for home. Temple Painter's third in range. Royal Justice just quickened in front. Royal Justice going for it. 3/4 in 1 minute 11.07 seconds. Royal Justice has amassed a 7-length lead. Suddenly with 1 furlong to go from off pitch. To the inside, Sorry Not Sorry with her bid. Temple Painter, Hoosier Promise, Spooky Ridge, Innisfree Lass is too late. Royal Justice and Fernando de la Cruz in a blowout score. And the Ellen's Lucky Star from Temple Painter. Then,
that is one of the more convincing 23-1 shot wins that you'll ever see on the grass. Royal Justice just took that over top of the lane and never looked back. JD sat a pretty good trip tracking the pace of the 4, but I didn't see Royal Justice winning quite like this.
It was one of those
races,
right?
What'd you say, Mikey?
I just said it was one of those races. Like it figured it was going to blow up. It just felt like one of those races.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 4 mid-race when I looked and saw the last flash odds and saw 3-5, and then that horse folded up down the lane, and they weren't incredibly fast fractions with how fast the track's been playing. We've seen multiple turf course track records the last few days. So those fractions I thought were pretty pedestrian given the level of these horses. The 4 didn't want any more of it. 5 came in, 9 got second, and I believe my 10 got up for third, but was way too far back.
Yeah, and it's free last, very far back to start, and the race didn't, end up falling apart too much except for the scramble in behind. But Royal Justice, took that one. Mikey, you did nail it. This race just kind of felt like it could have been really any of these horses if you didn't like one of the 2 favorites. And JD, you were spot on. The 10 did get third, and Hot Middles ran absolutely nowhere.
And I gave the 9 as well as my 3 closers were the 9, 10, and 11. So I'll take. Like usual, I will take as much credit for getting people exactas and tries home because I had nothing for this winner here.
There you go. Yeah, no, you can absolutely.
I'm even trying to red board and come up with something on the fly, and I'm struggling.
Yeah, I can't. I couldn't.
3-year-old got LASIX last time and won improved. I mean, that's a little bit.
Just first time turf. I mean, they either like it or they don't. She really liked it. And she showed kind of a dimension that she didn't show on the main track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a whole bunch of negative things to say about the 5. We talked about it. So that was the second win for a full of that dam in 61 turf starts.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have found this horse if we went through and did it again.
Yeah, I'm with you. If anybody had that super high 5, though, you're pretty much good for the year, I would imagine. Same with the super. That's going to be the exotics, just top to bottom, are going to be phenomenal. But that is race number 10, 5, 9, 10, 8, 2. Now we get to move on to race number 11, which is the Indiana Oaks. But of course, the highlight being the Indiana Derby. I thought we could touch on a quick video showing the last 3 Indiana Derbies and kind of where the winners came from. It's going to pick up right about at the quarter pole. It's about a minute long, so I'll play it.
Who moves through toward the inside. First glimpse, Fowler Blue and Rattle and Roll. Last to make the top of the Horseshoe Indianapolis stretch. 3/4 went in 1 minute 13.10 seconds. Actuator short lead. Fowler Blue battles. King Autumn in the rail. Best Actor charging hard on the outside. They come past the 16th. It's Actuator narrowly from a battling Best Actor with James Graham. It's Actuator to win the Indiana Derby. They've straightened away after 3/4 in 1 minute 12.83 seconds. Verifying Transect. Cagliostro was angled out to a clear path. And charging his Raised Cane. Georgie W's bid is flattened out. It's Verifying. Charging his Raised Cane on the outside. Raised Cane and Verifying. Verifying digs in. Verifying on the wire. In the Indiana Derby with Raised Cane. Woodcourt and finally Kitty Hawk. They've turned for home after 3/4 in 1 minute 10.77 seconds with Laurent Giroux. Dragoon Guard, the gray, leads the way. Has 3 lengths to hold on Stronghold, who's charging hard on the outside, but they're near home. It's Dragoon Guard. Dragoon Guard has won the Indiana Derby.
All right, that was a quick look back at the past 3 Indiana Derbies, concluding there with Dragoon Guard. JD, as we picked those races up, a lot of those winners were pretty much on the lead when we picked things up just inside the quarter pole there. Do you think this is just a race that you're going to need the lead when they turn for home, or do you think this race specifically might set up for a runner coming way late off the pace? Oh, you might be muted.
I am muted. I apologize because I was opening a beer, and I will take this mention. So I do have some beer from 450 North, which is about 25 miles south of Horseshoe Indianapolis. So have some fun beer while we're talking about the races. But yeah, I think it's a completely fair main track. I could see especially any horse from anywhere winning, and we've seen that on the turf course today as well. I think luckily the weather has been okay at Horseshoe Indy. Obviously, they've had a lot of weather issues the last few years around this time of year where you end up getting a bunch of races off the turf. I think going into today, they had run 44 turf races so far this year. They had run 88 turf races at this point last year, and even that was still like a third of their turf races were washed off. So the fact that we have fast and firm is great, and I think they're 2 even courses right now. So I don't see a lot of bias.
I agree. Mikey, I'll throw it out to you real quick for the Indiana Derby. We touched a little bit on instant replay. He's coming off of a win last time out at Lone Star in the Texas Derby, where he won by a length over a sloppy and sealed track. Got Lasix that day, but won the Backhouse Row at Oaklawn off Lasix. So he's answered that question. He's a very talented runner, and he likes to come from off of it, as you mentioned. Do you think we can see another step forward from this horse, or do you think the 92s and 91s that we've kind of just seen the past 4 races, do you think that's kind of his top, and do you think that's enough to win this race today?
It might be his top, but that might be enough to win this race. This horse has a pretty, I would say, push button type move. If you watch a lot of his races, like if you go back to that Fairgrounds race back on February, this horse sat and one punch. Louisiana Derby was able to sit back and make that one real big long run. And then the last 2 wins, same thing. When they want him to go, he goes. He's going to make his run again. It's just going to be a matter of, is he good enough? I think he always seems to run his race, especially the last few races. He puts in that big run. He puts in that big effort. It's just a matter of, can he get the right setup? Is he good enough? Will he improve? I don't know. I feel like that they've, kind of picked spots for this horses, and they've made money. I mean, he's made $415,000 this year. But he's not challenging the big boys anytime soon, which, to be fair, a lot of these other horses really aren't interested in facing the sovereignties of the world either. And the, the journalisms. So these, mid-level derbies are the races that they're going to show up in. I think he fits. He's gonna run his race. He has enough speed, but I don't know. I think he's more an underneath type for me.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, if I was the connections of instant replay, I wouldn't be aiming to face Sovereignty anytime soon either. As that horse is an absolute freak. Jessica, I'll throw it out to you now. Back to the Indiana Derby, of course. Chunk of Gold. We can't pick, even though the 6-1 was a nice price on him.
Very disappointing.
I know. I gave that horse a strong look as well, especially coming out of the performance in the Ohio Derby, which I think is always that first race out of the Kentucky Derby. I look at it as almost just a reset, getting everything kind of back in order because of how much that race really takes out of a horse with how difficult it is. But with the Indiana Derby now, who did you kind of gravitate towards?
I'll go with instant replay. I mean, if you look back to the Louisiana Derby, and again, I think very highly in Chunk of Gold, and I think he ran very well in that spot. He's run well on or off Lasix, and being Brad Cox's second stringer is still an awfully good place to be, and you can have a very productive season. And honestly, his Texas Derby was very good. I mean, who knows what he beat there, but this is one who's kind of passed every class test that they've asked of him. If you look really a deep dive, when he did face some kind of saltier competition, he really has held his own. And I mean, is he on the level of Sovereignty and journalism? I don't know just yet, but this is kind of the makings of one of those Brad Cox horses, right? That has that big second half of the year too, that kind of pops up into the spotlight right around now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And this is the kind of horse that I think about that, that comes into his own in that 3-year-old season where we could see him up at Parks in the Pennsylvania Derby or a race like that where, I don't know that he'll meet the likes of Journalism or Sovereignty or even Baeza you could throw into that mix. And that kind of leaves the field pretty open because I think outside of especially the top 2, but even the top 3, you have a lot of space to make up. And this horse seems to be coming along really nicely. We'll actually watch really quickly the replay of his Texas Derby for instant replay. I'll throw it up on the screen now. We have no audio, but you can see him there highlighted by the circle and a lot of animations on him there. But yeah, coming in the pink in the Gary and Mary West silks, came right down the outside and ended up winning this by just about a length on the wire. Luis Saez was in town to ride that day. He did have Lasix, but again, we've mentioned he's answered the off Lasix question before, so can't be too concerned. And Mikey kind of alluded to this race looks like it's going to set up from somebody from off the pace. It certainly has the ability to heat up on the front end with horses like Big Truz sprinting out from a sprint to a route. You have Master Controller, who is the rabbit, except there's no other Brittany Vandenberg entry to chase that rabbit down. So this horse is just going to set speed out of the gate and see how long he can go on for. What do you make of a horse like Coal Battle? JD, I'll go out to you for this one. Came out of the Matt Win. I'm pretty much tossing every horse out of the Matt Win in terms of their chances to win that race because that was an absolute merry-go-round. Every horse just ran in place. It was won on the lead by East Avenue. So I look at that as a very excused effort after Coal Battle ran third in there.
Yeah, I think you've got to, dig back and you got to remember, why were we so excited about Coal Battle early on in the year. And you go back and you watch the Smarty Jones and you watch the Rebel, and you see that, you've got a horse that seems to be multifaceted and can handle whatever's thrown at him. And then you look at the last 3 races and you saw different tracks, different setups for the race thrown at him, and he just didn't perform. So you're having to think with this, month on the bench, if really Lonnie Briley's been, thinking about, okay, let's actually try to figure out what the best trip is for this horse. And let's tell Corey Lanerie today, hey, I want to see where this horse is going forward. Let's try to stalk the pace, or let's do this, and not try to have the setup of the race kind of dictate where the horse is, which I think with Vargas we saw a lot of, and maybe that was the instruction for Corey Lanerie last time out in the Matt Winn. But I think definitely we need to get an idea of what the best running style for this horse is. And I think that's going to be the useful thing for this horse going forward today. And when we're talking about a horse where I think they're trying to figure out what they want to do and where they want to be on the track, I have a real hard time betting them, especially at a 7-2 morning line.
Yeah, he just kind of needs to find his identity. You nailed it there. They don't really know what his best style is. He's been up in the front. He's been forwardly placed. He's come from well off of it. And the way he navigated a lot of those races at Oaklawn was impressive to see a 3-year-old do that so early on in his career. But you mentioned it. You want a horse that knows exactly where he wants to be throughout the race. And we'll throw up a replay of the Matt Winn Stakes last time out, which was a 4-horse field. But they were all Derby runners exiting that field. It was won by East Avenue.
Saez takes a peek back, confident look back. They're off the turn. East Avenue's the one to catch. Coal Battle to the attack, and here comes Coal Battle. Burnham Square third and down inside. Final Gambit is fourth. East Avenue still in front with a furlong to go. Coal Battle's trying his hardest. Burnham Square's third toward the inside, but it's East Avenue digging in, and East Avenue will take them from start to finish.
All right, as we see there, again, it was a bit of a merry-go-round won by East Avenue that day. So, tough to like a lot of horses out of there. There wasn't a whole lot of passing, a lot of it was more of a jockey's race than anything, but Louis Saez took them wire to wire that day. But I'm with you. I think Coal Battle, I don't think today's the day, because 7-2 and probably going to be lower than that with the scratches of chunk of gold in here. Could be lower. We could be looking at something in the 5-2. Maybe even 2-1 range with the way that these horses out of the Derby tend to get bet. And especially the 95 buyer speed figure last time out certainly doesn't disappoint. And people can look to that as a means of improvement. But this horse just kind of seemed one pace down the lane. But again, it's tough to pass a horse that had everything his own way on the lead. Mikey, are there any other horses in the Indiana Derby that you'd like to touch on here?
Well, I do think you guys, went through most of the contenders. I mentioned Publisher earlier just because I think that he could end up being the one that makes the last run if it gets too hot up top. And he has some class. He needs to prove it. I know he's a maiden. I know that's an issue. He's never, gotten to the wire first, but he's run some really nice bang up races. And I do think that, he's faced some tough ones. If you look, American Promise, Speed King, Sandman, in a race that it's set up perfectly for him. He was in the Derby. So the fact that they continue to throw him in these stakes races shows you that this horse is doing well. And they think, Steve Asmussen has won more races than anybody on that's ever trained. So, I trust him. I think that this horse has shown ability, just needs to take a step forward, but the rest of them have to take steps forwards too. And you have horses that you have 3-year-olds going to the second half of the year. Maybe he's one of the ones that takes that step forward. We'll see today. It's tough to come from last and win any race, but he's just a horse that I think deserves a little bit of attention.
Yeah, he's going to be running late. We know his style. He doesn't have to they don't have to play around with where they want this horse early or late. They know exactly where this horse is going to be. He's going to make his one run coming down the lane. I just wonder if maybe this distance today is maybe too short for him. Maybe he's going to want a little bit longer. We're going a mile and a 16th for the Indiana Derby. Maybe he wants to stretch his legs to about that mile and 3/16, mile and a quarter classic distance range. One horse I want to throw out there at a ridiculous price, and not one that I view necessarily as a win candidate, but one I'm going to key underneath in some trifectas, is the number 8, Brother Kenny. This is a horse that is 2 for 2 on the dirt at Indiana, and has improved in both of his efforts. Broke his maiden last time out, and then beat Older. Broke his maiden 2 back versus Open Company, and then beat Older in a optional claiming event last time out and drew off really nicely to win that race by over 3 lengths. JD, this is another horse that's going to be coming from off the pace. This is one I just want to kind of key around in third, try and spice up those exotics a little bit. Am I crazy, or do you think this one has a shot to complete the try?
I've had a tough time figuring out, the synthetic tries and all of the restricted maiden special weight races. Like at a certain point, like try something different, and they eventually got there, but just so many times, just kind of beating this horse against obviously a Turfway Park surface that he didn't particularly like is interesting. And you're like, okay, well, if they want to be in Kentucky or the Midwest, where else are you going to send? And that's an excellent point. But I think this horse definitely woke up, headed to Horseshoe. The maiden performance, I watched it back a little earlier. I really think that, Ramos starts to move a little earlier, and that horse might win by 3 or 4. Really started digging down into the horse, and we saw that kind of bright angle come up last time to win in May. Got into the horse a little bit earlier, asked a little earlier, and won by 3 1/4, and seemed to have more. So I think it's a horse that it's definitely somebody that's going to be around Horseshoe and winning, some of these lower level enlisted stakes that they have throughout the year. I think this is his track. These are his people. I don't necessarily see him really contending here, but if you're looking for a horse to potentially spice up, in third spot in a trifecta against like a horse like Publisher, if you're comparing the two, I think you'll get much better price and a lot better value on the 8. So back end of a try or a super, no problems with the inclusion of Brother Kenny, but I think this is a horse that's kind of found its level and will be around Horseshoe Indianapolis for a while for Bill Morey.
Yeah, I think so too. Jess, go ahead.
Oh, no thoughts. I have to get off momentarily. This is kind of, I've reached my end of this, but guys, good luck. Good luck to everyone playing. I think it's a great card, and I always like seeing these tracks have their big day.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Jess. It was great talking
Thanks
to
for
you.
having me.
Have a great rest of your season at Parks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
And September 20th is their big day at Parks. Just figure I'd give the shout for Jessica Cotillion and Penn Derby Day, Saturday, September 20th at Parks Racing. And she's going to be excited to go back and call some races this week because Parks was weather delayed, to say the least. Some deluge of weather last week. So
they were
Jessica.
They were going through it without a doubt up at Park. So, yeah, happy to be back, and we'll get to hear Jessica calling races. Speaking of races, we got to go out to Indiana now, as we are about 12 minutes away from race number 11, which is, of course, the co-feature, the Grade 3 Indiana Oaks. We're going a mile and a 16th for those 3-year-old fillies. We've talked a little bit about this race on the surface level in terms of our horizontal plays, but let's dive a little deeper. Mikey, I'll start with you. I'll throw the odds board back up just so we can see the live odds. Who's taking money? We can see Cliquot is 2-5 currently, and that obviously is going to affect the prices of everybody else. But Sturgeon Moon seems to be the other horse taking a substantial amount of play, down to 9-2 from that 15-1 morning line. Mikey, what do you make of the betting board, and who caught your eye in here? And as we know you like Cliquot, who else caught your eye in here?
Yeah, I'm not really surprised that the one's taking money. I mean, that morning line was never going to happen there. Not with these connections, that trainer switch. There's just too much to like there. So I sort of thought that the morning lines on the 1 and the 6 should have been reversed. And that would have made more sense to me because, the horse shipping in from Thistle, yes, that's a nice win there. Beat older horses. I mean, there's things, but that horse was never going to take the money that the 1 was going to take in this race. I didn't think the 2 would be 2-5 in here. I think that's crazy. I mean, really, just insanely low in here. That makes me think that with the Brad Cox runner, a little dead in the board. Now I know he's projected to be 2-1 given the probables and some of the multis. So I still think the 2 probably wins the race. I do like the action the 1's getting, even though it's expected. So I do think that the board probably will even out closer to post time, and most of these odds are fairly expected.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I think the board is going to even out as we come closer to post time. JD, if you were playing this race in a vertical perspective, what would you kind of play, and who would you use? Oh, you're muted.
Apologies. I normally hit a button and I don't have that set up today, so apologies on
It's
that.
all good.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm really gonna try to key the 6 where I can get some value in second and third in some exactas and tries. Probably look to include the 5, mix in the 5 a little bit more than the 2. I mean, the 5 was just an ever so slight favorite last time when these 2 horses ran. I mean, it's we get the fractional dollars, so it was 2.33 or 2.23, sorry, dollars for every dollar you wager versus 2.35. So I mean, it was a very slight favoritism of 2 cents on the dollar for Heavenly Sunset last time. But I think Heavenly Sunset more value right now. I mean, we're seeing 5-1 on this horse, and I did not think in a 6-horse field that this horse would be 5-1. I think 5-2, 2-1, where the projection is right now from DRF is probably pretty accurate on that horse. So I would try to beat the 2 here in certain cases, and then I might just hammer a really firm 2-6 exacta and then do a little saver 6-2 behind it. So kind of 2 ways to play. Kind of one of those races where I'm not going to be able to come up with a way to make money without having some losing tickets along the way. But sometimes in a situation like this, when you've got such a heavy favorite that you feel like can be beaten, you've got to be willing to take some risk and also be creative with your wagering.
No doubt. And going into this race, I thought the 2 and the 5 pretty much, they ran very similar races last time out. So if I can get a price discrepancy like this come post time, again, I'm sure water will find its level and everything will even out. But I would definitely take the 5 at 9-2 over the 2 at 2-5. I think the value is certainly there. But speaking of beaten favorites, our next guest does a great job of that. He joins me on the Gallop Out every week on YouTube. He's my co-host in 90% of the shows that I do, and thankfully he's here to join us now. It's Jackson Muniz. Jackson, what's going on, man?
Mike and I are licking our wounds from that most recent result at Saratoga. I think we were about 1-9 at the 8th pole in the big Naira contest, and somehow found a way to lose that. So it's okay. Got another race coming up at Indy that I feel pretty good about.
You guys did not use Think Big.
Oh, I thought the 2 was the lock of the day. And then when the 4 took that bad step, I'm like, bye, see ya. And then he got run down. Oh, yeah,
he did.
But,
shades of Casa Creed a little bit in there. But Jackson, we're talking about the Indiana Oaks out at Indiana, or Horseshoe, Indiana, I should say. 7 minutes to post. How did you view this race?
I thought the 2 was going to win for fun. The fact that she's taking this much money, early money, I should say, is a really good sign, especially when the low pays are indicating it's not going to end up that way. I think the early money a lot of times is a good indication of how the barn or how the connections or whoever is feeling about how she's training, because she looks amazing in the morning. Watched her most recent workout. She went 47-1, just completely wrapped up. I mean, there was so much more in the tank there. That last time she ran way better than Heavenly Sunset did. And in that race at Churchill, she clearly beat her. She had a tougher trip early on than that rival in there. And I didn't think there was a whole lot in here. I think the 1 is interesting. I'm not surprised she's taking a lot of money. The fact that they bothered to enter her here off the long layoff speaks volumes about, I think, what they think about her ability. So she's an interesting one. But the problem with trying to beat the 2 is she can go the front. If she wants to make the front, she probably could get there. She also can sit off the pace, though. She's won both ways. Versatile, paired up by her tops. I think there's a lot of things to like. Am I going to bet her at 1-2? Probably not. But, if I want to get creative with exotics or, horizontals, verticals, whatever, I think that's the way to go.
Okay. How would you get creative if you were to play a vertical bet here and use the 2, I would assume, on top?
Vertical bet, I think I'd probably be with the 1. I think the 1's a little interesting. It's a bizarre placement to me. I think they probably could have found an easier spot if they really wanted to. And again, that the fact that they're here, I think, speaks about how they view this horse's ability. So I'd probably do that. I think the bigger push would probably be in the double, though. I like Coal Battle in the Indiana Derby. I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about that race coming up. But right now, that double, well, actually, let me check. I think $7. I think that's it's a little light, to be honest. But we'll see how it plays out over the next 10 minutes or so.
Interesting. So you're a Coal Battle fan. I've never heard those words come out of your mouth before.
I picked him on our show, and he won at Oakland.
Did you? Oh, all right. I thought you picked. Oh, you picked against him in the Derby. That's the only other time we've talked about Coal Battle. I guess you were right on that front. But either way, All right. So why do you like Cole Battle today? Why do you think he's going to succeed in the Indiana Derby? And where do you picture him during the running of the race?
Well, I think he's going to finally get a better trip than he's gotten his last 2 and really 3 starts. There's a lot of speed. Obviously, master controller. I'm assuming he's going to go. I don't know why else he's entered if he's not going to go to the front, or at least try to. Tip Top Thomas, very quick. Big Truz, also very quick. And I think those 3 are going to send along. And Cole Battle, I just kind of picture him drafting right behind those 3. Whether 2 of them go or all 3 of them go, I think he's going to get that second flight trip. He's going to get the jump on horses like Instant Replay and Publisher, who aren't particularly quick. And we've seen this track all day. It's been very, very kind of speed. So I don't know if he's going to be coming from 5 lengths, 6 lengths out of it like those horses probably will be in the Indiana Derby. So I think he's the one you want. I think he's been facing the best horses. He's been running the fastest races, and he might be a bit of an underlay. He might be a good price to bet, I think, is what I'm trying to say. Because I think Cox is going to take a lot of money in the next race.
Yeah, I anticipate Instant Replay taking a lot of the play. The other 3 people on the screen do not share your same opinions of Cole Battle. However, we're all on the same page with Tip Top Thomas. We think that, at least I think that Johnny's just going to sit a nice tracking trip. I feel like Big Truz might be a little better when he has a target. So I maybe anticipate him kind of in that second flight of horses. Tip Top Thomas and Johnny V should work out a pretty good ride. Johnny V's typically pretty good in the saddle. Mikey, I don't think I've gone to you yet in terms of talking about this race and spicing up any exotics, or am I wrong?
It's tough. I mean, I like the favorite, so that makes it tougher. I would be trying to fade the 5 here. I just don't see. I mean, I guess she could turn the tables on the 2, but really, she didn't have much of an excuse last time. I mean, they were 1-2 around the racetrack, and the 2 was able to beat her there. Maybe she can turn the tables here, but Pratt off is another angle that I'm interested in fading horses, because I think that he's the best rider that there is going right now in this country, and he moves horses up consistently all the time. He is like Jerry Bailey used to be. When Bailey got on, he would get the most out of the horse during that race. And so Bailey off, somebody else on, that would be an angle that I'd be looking to fade. Same thing now with Pratt. So I just don't see how this one turns the tables. It's a Brad Cox and is 3-1 on the board compared to how much money the 2 is taking. I'd be betting the 2-1. I think the 1's getting money and shows that the barn's live, the horse is live. So I like the 1 and 2. I would be trying to play a cold 2-1.
Yeah. I was going to try and probably spice up a little bit and use the 3 in second. I thought the 3 could maybe take a step forward out of the, I believe it's the Gallarette Stakes or the Gazelle Stakes last time out. I should probably have that one in front of me. The Gazelle Stakes. Yeah, the Gazelle Stakes up at Aqueduct behind Ballerina de Oro and early on where, I don't love that race by any means. I just think that with the time off, time between races, maybe this one, is a little bit fresher, can take a little bit of a step forward. Obviously, he's going to need to improve on the numbers. But the boys in blue for Godolphin, we were just talking. I don't remember the last time I've seen them lose a race. And Jackson, I don't think you can either.
No, it feels like it's been a long time. Everywhere they've shown up, they're just firing on all cylinders. So they're tough to ignore right now.
They are. So that is the Indiana Oaks, and we talked about the Indiana Derby. This for all the horizontal players that love a get-out race. Race number 13 is an open maiden special weight race on the turf. Jackson, where'd you look to in there, if anywhere?
You're gonna give me a minute on that one. I didn't know where.
Oh, all right. JD, Mikey, if either of you looked at that race, do either of you have any opinions? I didn't do any crazy digging into there. Just curious if you had any thoughts for the get out race.
We had a trailer buddy from the Brad Cox barn come along, Elite Heat, who's in that 13-1. I think that horse 3-1 morning line probably going to be 9-5, considering it's a My Racehorse owned filly who's just missed last time out at Tampa. It's been on the bench for almost 3 months. Gets Marcin Pedroza in this spot. Should be on or near the lead coming from post position 1. If you're looking past that, I think the 8 Screaming Mimi getting back on turf is a positive angle, but this again is a closer. So would need somebody to go with the 1, and I don't necessarily know who that could be. Maybe the 4, but definitely 1 is the best of the best there in my eyes. And if the pace breaks down and you're looking at a horse to close, I think the 8 Screaming Mimi can do that. But again, we're talking about 3-1 morning line, 5-1 morning line, and there's some scratches in the race. So, I don't know how much value we're going to see there. But if you're planning to pick 3 here, starting with the Oaks, those are the 2 horses that I would include.
I like it. Mikey, did you take a look at the last race? If not, no big deal. Just asking.
Yeah, I'd probably try the firster there, the 5, Castle Hill. It's Will Walden again. It's Johnny V, first-time starter there. The mare was a turf winner, and barn going extremely well. Of the horses that have raced, I'm not really that impressed. I try to fade my racehorse horses as much as I possibly can, and this horse could run me over here. But I just think that especially in a race where you see a lot of horses that really have been exposed, this horse hasn't. So the barn's going too well for me to ignore. You get 8-1 morning line. That's going to play very well in Maltese. And if this horse is live, this horse could open up 2-1. Well, if you're playing pick 3s, into this horse, you're still going to get more money, I think, especially a lot more than the 1, a lot more than the 4. So I'd try the 5. I definitely use the 5 in Maltese.
I like it. Yeah, no, the 5, caught my eye as well. The first time starter for Will Walden. Certainly, and then of course it tracks Johnny V in the saddle. All right, Jackson, if you're going to play a horizontal here, so pick 3, or you mentioned the daily double is going to be probably a straight 2-3. So if you had to add a horse in the last race, was there anybody that caught your eye in the time you've had to give it a look?
Yeah, I think these guys both brought up good points about the my racehorse thing, because even if you put that aside, but it's Brad Cox, it's a speed horse, it's a race that has a lot of exposed form, and she's kind of the fresh face. She's going to be way over bet in that race. I don't know if I want to play her on the win end, but if you're looking at something like a pick 3, you might preserve some of that value a little bit just because it's the back end of it. I think that's where you would probably want to play her. And again, I have pretty strong opinions in these next 2 races too. I think I would just play the 2-3-1 straight pick 3 and hope it's a little chalky, but you just play it straight. You hammer it. You don't mess around adding other horses in there, and you hope you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. I like the play. You'll just play it cold. And Jackson, I think you'll agree that with those my racehorse horses, a lot of times they won't take money in the horizontals. And they really just take it in the win pools. Well, they of course are going to take a little bit.
They don't take it nearly as much in
correct,
the deeper horizontals as they would. In the win pool, it's just so obvious. You see it as soon as the odds open up. It's right in front of you.
Yeah. Anytime you make a morning line, if you see my racehorse, you got to just put that horse at default 5-2 because of the amount of money that horse is going to take, even if the horse has absolutely no shot.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You guys, did anyone give the 6 horse a bit of a look last time? I know she was a massive price at Thistledown, but she beat older horses. She beat Peignoir, who's pretty decent. On her best day, that's a decent older mare, and that was her first time going 2 turns. I don't know if I necessarily want to believe that it was a fluke or anything. And she's a little interesting in here, I think, at a big price.
JD, take it away. I know you have some thoughts on this horse.
Yeah, it definitely was exactly my thinking. Is beating older, beating him on the square, and I think the jockey making the trip out from Ohio is also a sign that this is a well-intentioned spot. And also, I still think that this could be. And what I was saying earlier in this, the 1, 2, 4, and 5 all want to be on or near the lead. This could break down a little bit, and if it does, the 3 and the 6 are going to pick up the pieces, and it's about which you like better. And I think the 3 for Godolphin or the 6 for Connections from Ohio. It's like the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum, but I think both of them have a shot here. That's why I hammered in, especially looking at it. I just hammered a big 2 with 3-6 exacta. Just because I do think those horses are going to be picking up the pieces, and those exacta payoffs are pretty juicy right now. 2-3 is $16 for a buck. 2-6 is $27 for a buck.
What makes you think the 1's going to go to the front? Because I don't see that. I realize that that one race a horse early, but the last 2 starts they sat with this horse going long. So I don't know. I'm not sure what you think there, but just working fast. What's the angle there?
I think working fast. I think being drawn inside. I think those are the 2 big things. I also think that, we've got, they're not against full fields, but we've got 4 bullets, and they've been 4 pretty quick works this time of year. Keeneland just really, I think the 1 cents. That's my viewpoint, and I could be completely wrong here.
All right, let's see how it plays out. The Indiana Oaks, live here on ABR. John G. Dooley with the rest of the load and the call.
Sunset and 4-1 Sturgeon Moon. For the mile and a 16th. Track record 141.19. Here's Heavenly Sunset in the Claret for Qatar Racing. One more. Fernando Salazar Becerra. GoldenEye Magic. She's won 5 of her 8 career starts. Lady Jacqueline winner at Jack Thistledown. GoldenEye Magic. They're in the gate. They're off. In the daily racing form, Indiana Oaks. Clico sharply away. Here's Heavenly Sunset with an early bid. Top is right there too. Sturgeon Moon, Deloraine in the Royal Blue of Godolphin, and GoldenEye Magic has dropped back to last as they enter the first turn. It's Heavenly Sunset. Heavenly Sunset to the early lead for Luan Machado. Clico in tight quarters and taken back to settle. Top of the white cap is right there for the home team. Clico is now running in third as Heavenly Sunset establishes a very easy lead as they go to the back of the track. Deloraine is next in fourth. That's Sturgeon Moon and GoldenEye Magic, the opening quarter for Heavenly Sunset, 23.18 seconds. Heavenly Sunset leads by 3/4 length. Top staying right there with the front runner, making this run toward the half-mile pole. Agarellas and Clico. She's biding her time toward the inside. She's not too far off the pace, and Mike Smith moves Deloraine into scoring range. That's a break of 3 more. At the back of the field remain Sturgeon Moon and GoldenEye Magic in the orange cap. Half mile for Heavenly Sunset, 46.15 seconds with 3 furlongs to go. And here's a bid by Top. And Top is looking to take on Heavenly Sunset. For Fernando de la Cruz, it's Top who leads coming toward the quarter pole. Deloraine and Clico, and here she comes. Clico is right there, coming with a bid now outside of Deloraine as they try to close down Top. Then GoldenEye Magic with Sturgeon Moon, and Heavenly Sunset's dropped right away. 3/4 in 1 minute 10.36 seconds, and Clico has taken charge with 1 furlong to go. Clico pulling clear now by 3 from Top. Then Sturgeon Moon, Deloraine, and GoldenEye Magic is next. They're close to home. A toast to Clico. Clico in the daily racing form, Indiana Oaks, and Clico well on top. Top was the runner-up. Sturgeon Moon third, and Deloraine finished fourth.
Well, there we have it. Yeah, Clico pretty much for fun. That was your even money favorite. Made even money look like a pretty good price if that was who you ended up getting attracted to. We started the conversation, and Clico was like 2 to 5. You saw Top hang on for second. Just kind of goes to show how speed favoring this track kind of has been. Heavenly Sunset dropped right out of it. I know they didn't, fly or go super quick early, but it certainly looked like the others were maybe kind of just running in place. Jackson, I saw you make a face there. Do you disagree? Do you think maybe it was just not the greatest set of horses behind her?
It's tough to say because obviously Heavenly Sunset didn't run at all. Like that's not the Heavenly Sunset we've seen in the last 2 starts. So it's hard to know, did Clico really improve that much, or was it kind of just no one else really ran? Is the problem. So we'll see what comes back on the clock probably tomorrow or Monday. But I mean, that was a good performance. I don't think she got necessarily the trip she would have preferred, but it didn't really matter. I mean, she was just better than those horses.
Yep. She was just better. Mikey, any thoughts on that race as we go 2-4-1-3?
Yeah, I mean, I was against the 5. I didn't think she'd be that bad.
Right.
The 2 really didn't get the best of it by any means. I mean, didn't get the easiest trip and still found a way. I mean, was never losing. It's a little disappointing the 1 didn't run just a little better. Maybe if she would have been a little closer, then she might have got there. That's the problem. Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of figured that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. JD, any thoughts as we wrap up the Indiana Oaks here?
I mean, Clico was really good and was by far the best because didn't get the best trip and just absolutely destroyed this field.
I like it. Yeah. Did just destroy the field. Just much better on raw talent there.
I'll have to go to the Alabama or something with her because I don't know who really supposed to be afraid of, at least at this point of the year. Like, why not take a shot in the Grade 1? I think she'll run all day too. I mean, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'd take her to Saratoga. Take her to Alabama. I mean,
yeah.
Why not?
Because you might have a favorite in that race. It's a little bit vulnerable, and she's running in about 10 minutes at Saratoga. And that's Nitrogen in the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks. That's the only race that we'll talk about real quick outside of Indiana. Obviously, she is a superstar 3-year-old filly who's really done very little wrong. Ran on the off track last time. I'm not going to look too much into that. but Marcassi did hint that maybe they try the Alabama down the road. Jackson, I got to go to you first. If you're playing the Belmont Derby at Saratoga here, where's your focus going? Is it just watching as a fan of Nitrogen, as she's currently 1-5, or are you going to try and get creative and beat this heavy favorite?
Well, we were trying to get creative. We picked against her. Mike and I did in our contest. Do you mind if I share now that we're busted
No,
up?
feel free. I don't mind at all.
We were trying to beat her, just because of the price. I don't really have any knock against her, to be honest. I mean, she's obviously very good. She's really been yet to be challenged at this point, but I think for contest purposes, it was worth trying to beat her just because we were able to get alive to so many different horses in that field. We got alive to 3 horses that have good shots. If I'm playing this in cash now, I think I just probably play a 7-3 straight exacta. I think Totally Justified ran amazing at Churchill Downs. She was huge that day. It was a super fast pace. She was the first one to move into it. She just got a little tired late and got run down by a deep closer. And we saw what Classic Q came back to do earlier this week when she was a part of that pace too, and she ran so much worse than Totally Justified did. And that was Totally Justified just her third start of the year, or second start of the year, excuse me. So she could theoretically be sitting on a peak effort. There's not a lot of speed in this race. I think she's a very logical horse to run well and maybe finish second and a straight exacta to the big favorite.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Yeah, third start to her 3-year-old season. You mentioned ran really well last time out. Fionn, who beat her, obviously came from a bit off the pace and probably got the setup that was most ideal while Totally Justified held on. So I like that pick. Hey, it's tough to beat a horse like Nitrogen who just has that kind of speed figure edge. But hey, if you're going to try, the graveyard of favorites at Saratoga is probably the right place to do so. JD, I don't know if in the million races that you're looking at, both quarter and thoroughbreds, that you had a chance to look at the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks today, but did you have any thoughts on that race?
Well, Mayday ready. You got to throw out the slop on Belmont Day. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can completely throw out the race in Japan, but it was not. We didn't see the best of her that day. You go back. I mean, this is a horse that beat Nitrogen in the Juvenile Fillies Turf by, finished ahead of. I shouldn't say beat in that case, but by a length, and did nothing wrong before that. Winning the Jessamine, winning the Kentucky Downs Juvenile Fillies. I think if we get a share and a chance of that horse, and if she's anywhere near, what she was last year at this stage, you're sitting at 10-1 right now, and I'm never going to talk you off of that. And I think that's my big opinion here. Obviously, Nitrogen, as a 3-year-old, has been just completely untouchable for DJ Stable. But if we're looking at last year's form and what was going on last year, I'm a Woodbine guy. I was there and watched in person, Nitrogen and the Natalma, and it was a disappointing finish. And obviously this filly's grown, but Mayday ready. If we get any sort of sense of moving forward, Mayday ready could be tough for Nitrogen here.
Certainly could be. It's going to be interesting to see. This is, I would say, this is the toughest field that she's faced to start her 3-year-old season. Jackson, I don't know if you would agree with that or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely up there. I think it's comparable. I mean, the problem is she has been beating Lush Lips, and we saw what Lush Lips came back to do last week when she smoked a pretty good field of Churchill Downs. I mean, she was awesome last week, and she's not even close to Nitrogen at this point in time.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. I'm a little bit on the number 2 Opulent Restraint just because that horse is going to be forward, and we've seen how valuable that seems to be at Saratoga. It does seem like the track profiles maybe changed a little bit today on the inner. We just saw, some closers come from a little bit off of it in that last race. So something to think about. But for now, we'll pivot back to the Indiana Derby. For anybody looking to wager, you got about 4 minutes or so for that race at Saratoga, or if you just want to watch as a racing fan. But to pick back up with the Indiana Derby, we'll show the replay.
Are we not getting a Ryan race call?
We are not getting a Ryan race call. Nope. None of those. Those are Saturday show exclusives only. So we might bring those back one day in the future. But for now, we're just going to talk about the Indiana Derby. And Jackson, we showed this a little bit earlier, but I want to show it again because again, we're looking into a race that has about 25 minutes to post, if I'm showing correctly. I know your top pick is Coal Battle, so I want to give you a chance to speak about that horse a little bit more kind of in depth. But first, we'll show the replay of the 2025 Matt Win Stakes from just a few weeks ago.
Saez takes a peek back, confident look back. They're off the turn. East Avenue's the one to catch. Coal Battle to the attack, and here comes Coal Battle. Burnham Square third and down inside. Final Gambit is fourth. East Avenue still in front with a furlong to go. Coal Battle's trying his hardest. Burnham Square's third toward the inside, but it's East Avenue digging in, and East Avenue will take them from start to finish.
Yeah, no surprise the boys in blue took that one with East Avenue. But, Jackson, Coal Battle in there, obviously sat a tracking trip. I give that race a lot of excuses, and East Avenue is probably the horse I want the least coming back out of there, maybe Final Gambit. Well, he ran yesterday, but, Coal Battle and Burnham Square, they're both horses that kind of like to stalk the pace, at least Coal Battle. I mean, JD brought up a good point. They don't really know what this horse is best doing or what this horse truly wants to do. Does that concern you at all with your pick, or do you look to that as maybe an advantage that this horse can kind of be placed anywhere, even though we haven't quite found what he's best at yet?
I think for today's race, it would be an advantage because it's kind of a murky pace scenario. Like, I think the 2 is going to go. I think the 6 is going to go. I think the 7 is going to be up there. But, like, none of them are, like, true front runners. Like, this race could unfold a number of different ways, I think. And the fact that they can kind of place them wherever they want to, I think works in his favor. As far as the Matt Win goes, I just felt like that was a better field than he was facing today. I mean, Burnham Squares was a very solid horse. East Avenue, when he gets lead like he did in that race, is obviously very tough. And the other horses, I can't remember his name. It's solid, too. I mean, all those horses I think would probably be favored in today's race. He ran fine. I don't think he had a huge excuse except for the slow pace. He just kind of ran in place, but the number came back strong. I do think today he's just going to get the trip he wants against this group. It's really a group of horses that I have a lot of question marks about. So I think I actually haven't checked the odds, but I think he's probably the one I'm going to end up betting on.
Well, you just mentioned the odds. I was going to throw up the odds board right now as we're looking at the live feed from Indiana. 22 minutes to post. 9-5 right now on Coal Battle. Pretty even betting board. Aside from that, you have the Rail Runner, whose name is Publisher, of course, the maiden. And then you go out to the 6 and Tip Top Thomas at 3-1. You have 7-2 on Big Truz, 46-1 on Brother Kenny, and then 9-2 on Instant Replay. Jackson, I certainly was with you. I thought this horse was going to take a lot more play, possibly even be vying for certainly second choice, maybe even favoritism. Does this show you that maybe Instant Replay is a little cold on the board, or how do you read this one?
Definitely. Anytime a Brad Cox horse is 9-2, I mean, especially at this track, I mean, they just bet him like crazy here. So the fact that he's 9-2, I wouldn't take that as a good sign. I do think it's a good sign for Coal Battle. It's very similar to the last race where the horse was bet early, but looking at the will pays, it's going to probably drift up towards the end. Looking at the pick threes right now, I mean, there's $10 of separation between the 3, the 6, and the 7, and then it's really not that far of a gap between the 1 and the 9. I mean, they really don't know where to go with this race. Is my take of looking at these will pays. I think it's pretty wide open. So I think the odds will probably shift quite a bit in the next 20 minutes, but I think I'm going to get the price I probably want on the 3.
And what price is that you want on Coal Battle?
2-1, 5-2, probably 5-2. I think 5-2 would be the one I would pull the trigger on.
Okay. I mean, I was certainly a big fan of this horse. This horse grew on me. It's good to see a 3-year-old as mature as he was early. Maybe he just loved Oaklawn, but he certainly did everything Juan Vargas asked of him at the time. JD, we haven't heard from you in a little while. We'll go to your thoughts on the number 6, Tip Top Thomas, 3-1. Obviously a horse that 3 of us, I think, all kind of universally picked on top here. 3-1, is that too low? What price were you hoping for? I think looking at the will pays, I think Tip Top Thomas is going to drift up just a couple ticks. But what are your thoughts here? Is this too low for a win bet?
I don't think so. And looking at the DRF projections right now, it's projecting Big Truz at 2-1, Tip Top Thomas at 5-2, and Coal Battle at 3-1, which I think are the fair odds based on what I'm seeing with the will pays. So I think it's what we're expecting. And obviously, I think part of it is with Chunk of Gold out. Chunk of Gold would have not been anywhere near 6-1 in the spot. So I think Tip Top Thomas is where we expect on the board here. And I think, you got Johnny V aboard. Obviously, Irad's been the pilot through the first 4 of the career, but obviously not really a downgrade there when you've got a Hall of Famer taking the reins. And I think, again, this horse will be on or near the lead. And I think, we've seen, good trips today from that spot. So I've seen nothing to get me to go against Tip Top Thomas as of yet in this spot. And, I wouldn't play the horse to win at probably 9-5, but 2-1 or above, I'm going to place a win bet.
Yeah, I mean, it is technically this horse. It is this horse's first time truly routing, going the 2-turn distance of the mile and a 16th. Has a couple 1-turn mile efforts. So I'm curious how he's going to run and handle that. I don't want to take a price that's too short. Another person has just joined us in the waiting room, and I'd like to bring him on. We can get his thoughts on the Indiana Derby. He's doing his best Jackson impression, although I think he's outside rather than sitting in the car itself. But you know him as Shane's Picks on X. It is Shane O'Neill. Shane, my man, what's going on?
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
We're doing well. Thanks for joining us. You're out in the woods, brother. What's going on? What's happening?
Oh, you see, we're on a little big bear trip today.
No, internet,
What?
not true.
Oh man,
He's got the mountain service.
yeah,
I
Shane.
think I heard Big Bear.
The Big Bear Mountain Service might be our worst enemy here.
Here you go.
I'm gonna give that just a second.
Yeah, he may have to reset that.
Yeah, we might have to reset that one. Obviously, coming in from Big Bear in the mountains, I don't think that they do 5G out there. But yeah, no, certainly looked pretty scenic. Mikey, I want to get your thoughts real quick as Shane kind of resets out there. Same question towards you. The number 6, Tip Top Thomas. What are your thoughts on that runner? Is the price too low right now, or are you in the same boat where anywhere in that 5-2 to 7-2 range is a win bet for you?
No, it's about what I figured for him. He was always going to come down off that morning line. Like that was just not going to happen, especially with the scratches in the race. And he's on the come horse, right? He's the horse that I think everybody has the expectation that he is going to take another step forward. He really showed a lot of talent at 2. These other horses, they're gonna, we sort of know what they are right now. I think Tip Top Thomas, you have maybe that next level that this horse could get to. I think he's going to get the Johnny V stalking type trip. And if he does take that step forward, I do think that he can win in this race. And right now, a 3.5 to 1 is very acceptable. You're going to get the Derby. I ran in the Derby money for Cole Battle and Publisher. People latch on to those kind of things, and we see it all the time. So I just think that he's kind of like the right horse in this race. And, he's the one that I want to see, okay, what do we have here? And now if you do get that kind of effort, he's going to move into that upper level. And those upper races, maybe the Haskell he shows up in, maybe the Jim Dandy, maybe, the Travers. I would think that they have ambitions for that kind of races for this horse. So this is the time to get him, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, certainly this is kind of the time that you see one of these horses, take that next big step and hopefully go into, the realm of, taking that step into the Travers, into those really big, stakes races that we'll see later this summer, mainly at Saratoga there. Jackson, are you ending any plays here? Are you playing any doubles, anything crazy, or how's your play looking here if you were to play something?
Sorry, I was watching Nitrogen beat again.
She got beat. We just didn't have the right
she
ones.
Did. Nitrogen did just get beat. The 5 Fione swept over the top to get the job done.
I feel a little better. I never would have ever had that
one there. Oh my god.
Yeah. Sorry, what was your question, Ryan? I got distracted.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I was also a little bit distracted. Not every day you see that, but hey, Fiona's turned into a really nice horse. Anyway, my question to you was, if you were going to play a bet here, we'll act like you don't have a double alive to Cole Battle. If you're going to play a vertical bet here, obviously you're probably going to use the 3 Cole Battle on top. Who are you using underneath? I have a bit of a crazy horse. I like the 8 Brother Kenny to kind of round out the tries and spice things up. Obviously 41 to 1 now is doesn't get much colder on the board than that, but I thought this horse at least likes the track, doesn't have to ship in, and is in good form with 2 starts, pairing up those buyer tops, as you would say, which are still about 15 points lower than what it's going to take to compete in this race, but still.
Yeah, I thought I had a tough time with this race vertically. Because I felt like the 3 is what I like the 3, and then everyone else out of that I kind of had question marks about. I think if I had to, it would probably be the 6. I feel like Tip Top Thomas is going to be the right price that you want to put in there, but it would be for significantly less than I was would have done for anything like horizontally wise.
All right. Hey, that's very fair. I'll
Yeah.
I'll allow that because it is a difficult race if you don't have a really strong opinion of who to use underneath. JD, if you had to play, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, JD, if you're playing something vertically in this spot, what would appeal to you using the 6 Tip Top Thomas on top?
Yeah, I think we can keep it pretty simple with 6 is going to be the second or third choice, so we can key on top in an exacta and a trifecta. Underneath horses that I would want to use, I want to use the 7 Big Charles and I want to use the 1 Publisher. So that's kind of where I'm at. So probably a 6, probably a 6-1-7 exacta, so 6 with 1-7. And then I'd want to do a 6 with 1-7 with 1-3-7 try. It's not going to be a great payoff in that try, so I'm not going to put a ton of money there. But the exacta looks like a little more profitable right now, looking at the table. So probably where I'm looking.
I like it. I might get a little bit ridiculous with whatever I might like to play. I think I'm going to play a little trifecta. I'll go 6 with 3-7-9 with 8, and we'll just keep it at that. I'll just hope Brother Kenny does something ridiculous. I'll hope Publisher and Brother Kenny kind of going to have the same style of run. I do believe Publisher is a much better horse, but I'll take the price on the 8 and just hope for something a little bit ridiculous. Maybe those front runners get a little tired. Maybe not everybody fires their best race. So I'll see if I can't get a little bit creative with it.
I have a question
go ahead,
for you
Justin.
guys about the 7, because no one's really talked about the 7, at least since I've been on.
Mm-hmm.
So my concern with the 7 is I know he's bred to go 2 turns all day long, but just watching his races, watching his replays and everything, like the race 2 back at Churchill, he looked like he hit a wall the last half furlong or so. He didn't gallop out well at all. And they brought him back in the Woody Stevens. He ran okay in there, but again, same thing. He saved every inch of ground. He just kind of bottled up the whole time, never really ran. And again, he didn't really gallop out that great. I was a little concerned about the stretch out. And then Nick Tamaro brought up a good point last night in a podcast we did that. Again, this is a horse that is bred top to bottom to run all day long, and they certainly haven't really been in a hurry to stretch him out. I mean, they had 6.5 furlongs, 6.5 furlongs, 7 furlongs. They easily could have just 6.5 furlongs. We saw the dominant win at Keeneland, run him at a mile and 16th, and the very next race on Derby Day in the allowance race that was there. So they had that option, but I felt like it was a little concerning that this is the first time he's gone 2 turns. So was that a concern for you guys, or is that more of you just prefer others on top for various reasons? That's
a great question, Mikey. Do you want to take it first?
Well, when you mentioned that, Jackson, earlier this morning, and you were on the In the Money show, I didn't really think about that as far as what you said and hitting a wall late. And I do think there could be something to that. Now, it was Patch Adams that was running away from him in both of those starts. So, I mean, he's legitimate that way. It's interesting to me, like you said, that they haven't tried it already. But they went into a really salty allowance race on Derby Day, and then they went into the Woody Stevens. So those are 2 pretty tough spots. I mean, they're not hiding this horse by any means. So I think this is the right spot for him if he's going to do it, right? A kind of a mid-level Derby. They don't have to face the big ones. They get him out on a 16th here. They're going for a decent amount of money. So this is the time. If you like him, I liked him in both of those spots at Churchill and at Saratoga. And I thought he raced good, but just not good enough. I'm not sure this is the right horse in this race as far as I'm not sure that I want him now, especially with some of those observations that you made. I kind of want to make him prove it to me. And now he's 2-1 in this board, and I'd much rather have the 6.
Yeah. That's very fair. Yeah. Big Trez, I do think is being maybe a little bit overbet, but JD, any response to Jackson's question that he posed there with Big Trez?
Yeah, I think there is a little concern there, and I think Brian Lynch has been very intentional. I think what we're seeing here is we've seen 2 straight blowout drills, one at 4 furlongs, one at 5 furlongs, and I think what we're seeing is, okay, we wanted to take our time in developing this horse, and maybe the horse wasn't ready to go as early as one would think, because I mean the pedigree does scream not only that the horse can run all day, but the horse could run all day as a youngster. And obviously we didn't see this horse debut until age 3, and we've seen very kind of a slow, steady rise in distance. And I think this has all been intentional, and I think this has been the game plan from the beginning. And I'm I've been fascinated with this horse because of the story of the dam Sarah Lynn and Kaleem Shaw, and just the crazy amount of money that has gone back and forth on this dam, and this being the first full out of it. It's there's a lot of stories here, but looking at him in the paddock, I mean, he looks like $1 million right now, and obviously it only cost 300,000. Boom, boom, thank you. But yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned. I think this was all intentional, and I think this was very much a path. And I don't really thought that before we saw the step up and blowout works, but now that we have those on the page, I really think that this was the plan all along.
Yeah, it very well could be. Obviously, yeah, bred to handle the 2 turns by Justify out of a Curlin mare. But coming out of the Woody Stevens, where Patch Adams notched the grade 1 win in that effort. Patch Adams certainly seems like the kind of one turn kind of horse. Big Truz is interesting on the stretch out. Ran really well last time, running late. I just think 2-1, and he might even go down a little bit lower than that. It's just too short taking a price like that on a horse that is stretching out and trying something new for the first time. So that's the only reason I really don't have him on top. Tip Top Thomas, I love this price at 7-2 right now. I hope that holds. And the Brad Cox runner still cold on the board. Jackson, what are your thoughts on the number 1 publisher? We can see on the screen, it's Rachel McLaughlin's top pick in here. Still a maiden, 7-2 versus this field. Do you think publisher has a realistic chance in here? Do you think maybe he just needs to get into a maiden race, break his maiden, and then try some new thing, then try Stakes Company again?
I mean, he's got a shot. I just think that 7-2 is awfully low on a horse that has never won before, that is going to be very far back on what we've seen as a pretty speed favoring racetrack today. And also, he's gotten really good setups. His last 3 races have been phenomenal setups. And the Rebel was the fastest pace you'll ever see. He only managed 4th. The Arkansas Derby, he was 15 lengths off that suicidal pace and finished 2nd and barely beat Cold Battle that day. He was way closer. The Derby, he got a setup of a lifetime too, and he just hasn't really taken advantage of it. And I think you're relying on a lot of things to go right for him to win in this spot. And at 7-2, I think that's just too short for me when you have other horses that are probably more talented at this stage.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And I do think that 7-2 is a little bit too short for my liking. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this horse anyway. I think going longer is going to be his friend. Maybe not, the mile and a half or anything crazy, but I think he's kind of built for that classic distance with the way that he makes his run. That's typically where a lot of his better races have come, at least recently. JD, while we have some time, we got 6 minutes to post. Fill us in on what you got going on this week. And I assume you will be back with us on the airways next Saturday as ABR rolls on with a special Woodbine live show previewing their extraordinary racing day for next Saturday.
I can't confirm or deny that news. But yeah, no, obviously we've got an exciting day here with Indiana, and obviously with Iowa and Prairie Meadows, their card going on right now, going through some of the Iowa bred races that kind of lead up to some of their big races. But yeah, I'm not doing anything crazy. Don't have any confirmed broadcast anytime soon. Just plugging away at the old 9 to 5 and firing away at Woodbine and other places when the opportunity comes, for sure.
I like it. Mikey, how about you? What do you have going on this week? What's up with In the Money, and what are you guys covering as you guys go on? There's no shortage of content that comes out of you guys.
Yeah, no shortage of content. We do a Cinnaboya early in the week. There's a harness show this week, Meadowlands Pace Week, so we'll definitely be on that. But of course, we have plenty of coverage from Monmouth, Woodbine. Coverage from New York. This past week we had coverage from Horseshoe India. We're going to continue that coverage. So there's plenty of things going on. Always, if you look, there's always something new on the network. The Horse Players Tours going on every week, and we've been interviewing some contest players. So there's just a lot of smart people saying a lot of smart things on the network. So anytime you turn it on, you have a good chance of learning something, good chance of maybe catching a winner or maybe a horse you weren't thinking about. So I can't really advocate the content that we put out enough. I mean, it is fantastic. It's something that I consumed a lot of before I was a part of it. And now that I'm a part of it, I'm going to continue to recommend it.
Absolutely. I would too, if I were you. In the Money puts out excellent content. And I know you got this guy at the bottom of the screen to join you for a lot of that as well.
There's a reason.
Oh yeah. No, he's a sharp guy. So Jackson, I saved the most important question for last, and it's just for you. Next Saturday, Saratoga opens up. What are your thoughts on the newly named Dunkin' Donuts Diana Steaks?
I love it. What a nice. I'm gonna forget how to say that. What did you call it? The Dunkin'
Donuts Diana Steaks.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna say that one 3 times fast before I get right. Who's showing up?
It's
in that
just
one?
the
Do we know?
Dunkin' Diana. They don't throw the donuts in the name
okay,
of
that's easy
the
then.
establishment anymore. So it's the Dunkin' Diana. And again, I wish it was the Munchkin Diana, but beggars can't be choosers.
I guess not. Okay, sorry. The Dunkin' Diana. I did forget they dropped the donuts from their name. So, Jackson, thoughts on the Dunkin' Diana? Not the runners in it, just the name.
Oh, great name. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. Can't wait.
Yeah, I have
The
no idea.
only reason I bet the race is because of the name.
I am really intrigued to see who shows up in that race. It's obviously going to be a lot of fun. But we're 3 minutes to post here for the Indiana Derby here at Horseshoe Indy. This will be the last live race that we cover. We'll wrap it up after this. But Jackson, if I'm a degenerate and I need to play a get out double, what's the double that I'm playing? Remind us one more time.
Yeah, I like Cole Battle in here. I still think he's the right horse. I think he's most likely to get the best trip, and I do think he's the best horse at this stage. So I would take him. That first time starter next verse is taking a lot of money in the doubles. Three with the 5 is paying 20. That's the second choice, as is with pretty much everyone else in the field. He's actually favored with some of the horses in here, which is kind of interesting. I'll probably keep an eye on that as we get closer and closer. It's between the 1 and the 5 in the next leg for me, but I don't want to use both. I think that's just diluting it too much.
Yeah, I would agree. I lean more towards the first-time starter just because everybody else that has done some running is more or less kind of exposed at the level, at least in my eyes. It would take maybe a 70 buyer to win that race, and I certainly think Will Walden and Johnny V with a firster who has some turf breeding for sure. You got to go back a little ways on the Grand Dam side for that first-time starter to find the turf influence, but it is there, and that one's out of a Pioneer of the Nile. Out of Pioneer? Yeah, by Pioneer of the Nile. Sorry. But yeah, so I thought that one was maybe a little bit interesting. And yeah, you said taking money, which is obviously always a good sign. And to stay on that topic of taking money, we see the odds board. Your favorite now, pretty clear favorite, is the number 7 Big Truz, as we are again about 2 minutes away. They do a good little post drag for Indiana, get all that last second money in. 2-1, a little low. Jackson, you got to be licking your lips looking at 5-2 on Cole Battle right now.
Yeah, feeling pretty good about it. I think that's pretty much exactly what I wanted, right? Anything around that is the green light for me. So we'll see what happens.
I like it. Fire away. Instant replay drifting down a little bit, but still pretty cold on the board. I really expected this horse to be in that 5-2 range. Pretty decent betting board. All things considered, you don't get too short of a price on anybody that you like. JD, Mikey, I assume we're all still in agreement. 3-1 on Tip Top Thomas is still a great price and one that I'll certainly be taking and putting a win bet on.
Yeah, I jumped in, punched a win bet. I'll take 3-1.
Awesome.
Working on it as we
you.
speak.
I love it. Go ahead.
Does it concern you guys at all? Because I know you guys are all like Tip Top Thomas, as do I. He's my second pick in here. But I loved him last time. I thought he couldn't lose. I hammered him in that race, and the race was over as soon as Sandel didn't break. I mean, Sandel didn't break at all, and then he just got the easiest lead of all time. That concerned me a little bit because I thought he should have won by more than he did. I mean, he just had everything go his own way. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case here, but is that a concern for you guys at all? It just you think he's going to take that step forward going 2 turns?
I think it was maybe a confidence booster, and he's just going to kind of take that step forward going 2 turns. I wouldn't try much farther than the mile and a 16th, maybe like mile and an 8th kind of at the top, but I think he can definitely handle this first time going 2 turns. And I trust Johnny more than anything to just have him in the right spot on a track that favors speed that's going to help him out. I think if he can just kind of lay outside of, the pace setter, or I guess a couple lengths back of Master Controller, because if he's pushing that, you're going way too fast. But hope to just sit right off the pace and get the jump on all those late runners, get the jump on a horse like Cole Battle, who I do think is maybe a little more talented if they were just to face off on the square. But I think if Tip Top Thomas were to get the jump, he might be rounding into some really good form right now.
It's fair.
All right. I mean, we got we're showing 0 minutes to post, so about 3 minutes to post, I think would be fair. Jackson, what did you make of the form of instant replay? We showed a replay a little earlier coming out of the Texas Derby. This runner's run 4 starts to start his 3-year-old season, all 91 or 92 buyers, 2 of each of those. Does that just kind of indicate to you that that's kind of the maximum this horse is kind of be at, or do you think this horse still has some room to grow, still only about halfway through that 3-year-old season?
I mean, yeah, he's still only a 3-year-old, but anytime the horse seemingly has plateaued, which at this point he kind of has, looking at the 4 straight similar numbers, it's obviously a concern. And I don't think I'd be counting on him taking another step forward here. I think it's also a concern that they've been pretty cautious about the way they've campaigned him. Like, they've taken him to spots where they knew he'd have a big shot. And to be fair, he continues to get the job done in those races, but this is definitely a much tougher assignment. And yeah, to be honest, Brian, I think 4-1 is actually not a bad price on him. I've kind of been talking him down all week, thinking he was going to be much lower than that. Now he's 9-2. Like, I don't think 9-2 is really all that bad if you're a fan of this horse. If you're a fan of this horse, I think 9-2 is a great price. I
certainly agree. Our buddy Noah Maher just texted he can't believe his brother Kenny is 46-1 right now. So I hope Noah puts a nice large win bet on that 8. But no, you mentioned this is kind. I mean, I don't think it's any secret. This is clearly one of the B string runners for the Brad Cox barn. But I think it was Jessica Paquette earlier today mentioned that's not a bad place to be, because you'll get set up for a lot of these places or a lot of these races where you're going to have a really big chance, and you're going to be maybe a B+ level horse running against those kind of B level horses. So you are able to kind of notch those derbies. Reminds me a little bit of, a horse EJ won the Cup for our buddy Doug O'Neill in the O'Neill barn, who just kind of went around to all those lower level derbies, the St. Louis Derby. There were some others in there that are escaping me now, but he just went on those that minor circuit kind of derby run in the same way. So I don't think that's a bad look. I think this is kind of that middle ground between those top ends and the kind of second tier derbies, because you do have a lot of talented runners in here kind of looking to make that next step forward. Mikey or JD, either of you feel free to jump in here. Do you think 9-2 on a horse like Instant Replay with this proven form and consistency is worth a bet at that price?
The last race, the Cox horse was dead in the board and went right backwards. I mean, one thing doesn't have anything to do with the other, but typically when his horses are live, they get hammered at the windows. This horse is not getting hammered into these horses. And right now he's the 4th choice, 5th choice right now. Yeah. So. Yeah,
Brad Cox is the 5th choice in any field, even if it's one of his, even if it's one of those A races. But certainly in a spot like this, I expected him to be much more live on the board. Bettors don't really seem to know where to go. We see alternating favorites. For some reason, it's showing the 3 is the favorite, but Big Truz still at 2-1, as I think they are finally approaching the gate here for race number 12. Long Indiana Derby Day card, but it all culminates here with a Grade 3 running, going the 8.5 furlongs. Close that door. And as they approach in, Master Controller should go 22 seconds flat for the opening quarter, and then I don't know if how much longer he's gonna hang on late, to quote JD.
That's his best shot. I hope he does.
Yeah. Hey, the best way to go with a speed horse is to the front. That's typically going to help you out there in the long term, but we'll see. Loading into the gate, I will unmute the audio so we can have John G. Dooley give us the rest of the load and the call of the Grade 3 Indiana Derby, excuse me. Good luck to everybody. We'll see you on the other side.
Ramos with 41 wins here this season. Stand by one more. Wathon Racing's Instant Replay. Juan Machado for Brad Cox going for a 3rd win on the day. It's the main event of the meet. Waiting for Instant Replay. Big Trust 2-1 favorite. Instant Replay for his new connections. Wathon Racing Silks, they're in the gate. And they're off in the Indiana Derby. Tip Top Thomas. Cole Battle's right there along with Master Controller, who's showing the speed for Chris Amy to just lead Tip Top Thomas to the first turn, with Cole Battle running in 3rd. Big Truz, the White Silks, is next in 4th. Then toward the inside, Publisher with Instant Replay. And Brother Kenny has dropped back to last. It's Master Controller. It's Master Controller who dictates the field at 49-1. Tip Top Thomas infusing more pace into Master Controller. And they're vying for this lead as they go up the back of the track, with Cole Battle running in 3rd. Big Truz running in 4th. Publisher ground saving 5th. Instant Replay is running wide, and Brother Kenny still trails. The opening quarter in 23.43 seconds. Tip Top Thomas and Master Controller. They continue to battle head-to-head to a half mile from home in the Indiana Derby, as Publishers looking to draw in, but held up there. Big Truz coming with a move right now, and Coal Battle is right there as they enter the far turn. Publisher's now running in fifth. Brother Kenny's up one spot, and Instant Replay has been relegated to last. The half mile, 46.01 seconds. Tip Top Thomas leads coming toward the quarter pole, and Coal Battle now stoking up as they come toward the top of the stretch. Big Truz is
Brother
right
Kenny?
there with Brother Kenny on
Brother
the far
Kenny!
side.
Wow.
Publisher is next.
Flying.
And Instant Replay, Master Controller's last. They're homeward bound 3/4 in 1 minute
Wow, hit a
9.33
wall there.
seconds. Tip Top Thomas a furlong
He did
away
hit a little bit of a
with
wall.
Johnny Velasquez. Tip Top Thomas tackled by Coal Battle, and these two fight
Come
hard
on,
past
Johnny.
the 16th. And Publisher now angles out. Brother Kenny on the outside. Tip Top Thomas.
Uh-huh.
Tip Top Thomas has won the Indiana Derby.
Go.
Repels
Tip
Coal
Top
Battle
Thomas
through the stretch.
over
Impressive.
Coal Battle.
Publisher and
Brother
Instant
Kenny
Replay
put in a great run to
and
get
track
third.
record time.
So there's the trifecta,
15
and look,
seconds.
he galloped out in front.
How about the ride on the one in the race? I mean, really? I mean, anybody see that coming?
I liked it. I liked that he had Publisher a lot closer up. I mean, I don't know that it kind of affected where he finished it all. I mean, a hard running fourth is more or less where I saw him, but I don't hate that he was a little closer up. Jackson, thoughts? JD, thoughts?
Anytime you're going to put a horse into a dirt race more than he usually is, I don't hate it. I mean, he comes from so far back usually. Gave him a chance. He just wasn't good enough.
I don't know though, because in this race, the way it's shaped, and it's obviously, I mean, it's Monday morning quarterbacking a little bit, but they took him out of his game in a race that you saw the 8 get third at 59-1. If he sits and maybe makes that move, does he win? I don't know. He might. I mean, he was well met in this race for sure.
If he made the same move that Brother Kenny made, I certainly think that he could have, certainly made a much bigger, maybe made his presence felt a little bit more, and kind of picked up those two runners late, because it was kind of just them a war of attrition getting down to the wire there. But a lot of guts on Tip Top Thomas. Coal Battle ran really well coming from off of that. But I mean, again, the speed just kind of looks like it has reigned supreme today.
Well, the best horse won. I mean, he went toe-to-toe. They opened up 4 or 5 lengths on the backstretch with a 55-1 shot, that finished 25 lengths up the track, and he held on.
He looked hooked like
maybe
3 times and still won.
Yeah, he did.
Maybe that speaks to who was trying to come run him down a little bit more than anything, but he still got the job done. That was first start 2 turns. I mean, there's some things to like about that performance for sure.
I will certainly take it. This bailed me out of my terrible day betting at Saratoga. So shout out to these 2 races at Indiana that we've watched so far. So hopefully we'll end the day nicely. As you can see, they took some nice money in the pools, 1.5 total there. We'll take that off the screen. We'll slowly start to wrap things down here as racing concludes at Indiana. Of course, you still do have race number 13 if you choose to get involved in that open maiden special weight race. We are not going to be covering that one. We're going to end on the high note with the Indiana Derby. JD, Mikey, and myself, we got to give ourselves a pat on the back. We chose correctly, and everybody on the screen, we had the exacta. So, love to Jackson too, for being second best, but that's all right.
We had a good day on this show. I mean,
we did.
Can't do it any better than that.
Yeah, all we can do is pick winners, whether they're even money, whether they're 49-1. All we can do is give you guys the horses that we think have the best chances to win. I mentioned a little bit ago that next Saturday we are going to have another live Woodbine show. Obviously, we'll talk more in detail, and you'll hear more about it as it's promoted throughout the week. Jackson, Mikey, JD, I hope the 3 of you or any combination are able to join me on the desk for next week. Not sure how many hours we'll be going for, but I do appreciate that you guys stuck around for about this hour and 45 minutes for this show. You 3, I'm always happy to share the screen with. I love your insight, and I feel like we all feed really well off each other. So thank you guys all for the time today.
Thanks, Ryan. You're the best.
Glad to be here.
You got it. Hey, Jackson, you're not in your car today. Yeah.
I've been waiting to see the official time because John G. Dooley did say a track record, which is about a 15-year-old track record at Horseshoe Indy, but I haven't seen and it was Jardim who won in a listed stake and then immediately went to a career in Maidan for the next 3 years. So kind of a fun, interesting.
How about that?
I thought I saw 141.15 on the screen.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a track record?
Yeah, the track record was 141.19. So yeah, that would work.
I think that's what I saw. Obviously, very fast track today. But the horse, I mean, he ran
Yeah,
really well.
and Willie D's earlier set the track record for a mile 70 at 1:38.98. So two main track records fall today at Horseshoe Indy.
And I believe the 5 furlong turf record got broken in consecutive races yesterday. So both tracks playing awful quick. I think Coppola certainly deserves that 5 furlong record, as he is certainly a quick horse. But I forget the winner of the race before. It was the 3-horse, Jackson, that you and I had talked about in the group chat. But that horse ended up setting the track record, got beat the following race by Coppola. So very fast surface out at Horseshoe Indy this week. Certainly I think the horses are, certainly running out. Final time, 141.15 for the mile and 16 Indiana Derby. For everybody that tuned in to watch and get our picks, thank you guys. That was a ton of fun. Obviously, to all my co-hosts, thank you guys again. Jackson, you and I will be back on the radio waves or the airwaves or YouTube and wherever this week as we do the Gallop Out. We'll probably be covering some Saratoga. Might have some fun special guests stop on by to that. JD, anything going on for you in terms of the horse handicapping world, or just doing the 9 to 5 for this week, and we'll see you back on the screen maybe next weekend?
Yeah, we'll keep you guys posted on social media, but don't have firm plans other than getting through what will be a long week at work.
Yes,
always a long week coming off a holiday.
Oh, yeah. Coming off the holiday, no doubt. And Mikey, one more time, obviously with In the Money, let us know where we can find you, where we can find all of In the Money's excellent content.
Yeah, just you can go to the YouTube channel. That's if you search In the Money Media, you'll definitely find that. InTheMoneyPodcast.com is the website. You can have access to all the podcasts. Lots of written content, too. Great stuff we have from guys like Eric Solomon. I mean, Dean Kepler, Nick Tamero, Jackson writes for us. There's just so much information there. You almost can't consume it all. But if you jump to the website, you can find all the podcasts and, find the written work, find the YouTube stuff. It's all there for you.
Awesome. That's over at In the Money Media on YouTube, In the Money Media on X. Jackson, anything you wanna plug other than being on the show and being on with me this week?
No, we're good. Everything like you said, everything you said. HHH2 this week on Tuesday, PHP. So we'll be around. We'll be around.
That's right. We'll always be around. Jackson, you and I throw our faces up on the screen so much. It's a miracle people aren't more sick of us. Thank you to everyone.
The best filly in the country runs in about an hour, so go watch LaSalle. Copian's ring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is actually that's a statement that you and I can agree on. Yeah, Copian out on the West Coast at Los Alamitos and the Great Lady M Stakes going the 7 furlongs. Best filly in the country for sure. Do you think they stretch her out?
They better.
All right. Mikey, you're shaking your head. You disagree with us?
Why would they? I mean, she's going to crush everything from 7 and lower. So
you already did. And who are you afraid of going 2 turns?
Well,
don't say the McPeak horse, please.
No, but I mean, I don't know. It's better to stay in your lane. That's the thing. Look at Big Truss. He can go back to sprinting anytime.
Yes, he can.
I think we could talk about this for hours.
For everybody.
Yeah, but.
But wait. All right. For everybody that joined us today, thank you once again, all the co-hosts. That was fantastic. Love the back and forth. Yeah, go catch Copian, the best female sprinter in the country, if you want to do so. Catch this last maiden race at Indiana. Have a great rest of your weekend. Have a good holiday weekend, because it was a holiday yesterday as well with the 4th of July. Everybody take care. We'll see you back here next weekend. I've been your host, Ryan. For JD Fox, Mikey P, Jackson Muniz. Take care. This has been the Indiana Derby Show on ABR Live.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you.